Hello and welcome to this amazing show. I am today with my co-host L. Hello, L.
Hello. It's been quite a time now.
Indeed, it has been quite a while, so we took a little break and now we are back. Plenty of energy. Obviously, this is not our job, it's just something we do during our free time. However, today, what about speaking about jobs and how maybe people see us like, you do something and so you are this kind of person. You are a cleaner, their perception will change just because of this. You are a doctor, the perception they will see you just because of the title of your job. What do you say, Elle?
Well, let's start with the narrative that you always say when it comes to introducing somebody to
Yes.
a person. Usually, the things that they ask is, what is it, sir? Number one?
Oh, hello, nice to meet you. What do you do?
That's right. They always
Where are
ask
you from?
Where
It's
are you
always these two questions. What do you do in life? And where are you from? They want, and basically, they will build their own perception of you, and they will see you directly from those two questions.
That's right. So, I think people start with those common questions mainly because it's just what we think as a society is normal. So, of course, you would think somebody is working or doing something that is productive in our society, but sometimes we do jobs that are not perceived by society as something that is respectable, I would say, for the lack of better term, or something that is just quote unquote good. I'm making air quotes, like good. So let's go back to the question, like, what do you do? So if I answer, well, during daytimes I am a childcare worker, but at night I'm a cleaner. And I think some are much more open into saying, oh, okay, that's good. Well, I, for one, does this and that, like getting the conversation flowing. But to some, they will probably think that you're, somebody that is, I don't know. This is not speaking for all the people who are in this industry or who are in this work,
Of
but
course.
they would think that, oh wow, speaking from somebody who has experience, because I am currently a cleaner at the moment. So yeah, and it's really hard to try to meet new people nowadays, especially when those are the opening questions that you get, and sometimes it shouldn't bother you, but then the society's pressure and standards actually puts a pressure on you, and so you're wondering if should I just say something else or stuff like that. So yeah, and sometimes omit answering your right job at all, which is basically lying. So yeah, I think
Lying is even worse, but sometimes you have to because
you want to save face.
you don't want strangers or even sometimes it's like new members of the family to judge you just about a job. It sounds ridiculous,
I
but
know.
I think it's so deeply. I mean, it's part of the culture of the society.
Not even part of culture, but more like society in itself.
Yeah, it's so
know?
used to why people are always asking, "What do you do?" Like as the first question.
And I think sometimes they associate some jobs to to the level of your intellect.
Oh yes,
Like which is so wrong. I mean, I've seen police officers who are not, this is not speaking for everybody else, full disclaimer, okay? But
sure.
I've seen videos of police officer not making smart choices, and they're supposed to serve and protect, or whatever is the motto in your in your country.
Of course.
Yeah. So
And do you have the example of what you have seen on the internet?
oh my God, I recently saw this on a very informative platform called Reddit.
Oh yeah, so it was like maybe in the US or
It was in the US.
it happened there.
Yes. It was a police officer with a body cam. So he just opened a car without a warrant. So he opened a car and then he saw a teenager just eating a burger with his girlfriend in the passenger seat. He was just eating a burger in a parked car, and so the I'm making air quotes, police officer told the teenager to step out of the car, and
Why?
that's why. That's the next question of the teenager. He said, "Why?" And then the police officer started firing 11 shots. And the teenager was lucky to drive off, but actually he's in critical condition, the one who's eating the burger. And do you think that was that's not an educated choice at all? It's a choice of a savage person. It's a choice of somebody who's mental. So, just because you think that a certain profession is in this character or something, you're definitely wrong. Because just because you got a PhD or you're a doctor, because sometimes, we all make mistakes, but that wasn't a mistake. That was attempted murder. That was attempted murder. But not everything is associated with the level of your intellect. It's so horrible. I stopped watching.
This happen now? Oh wait, to watch someone.
It was a body cam video.
Oh yeah.
So it was a body cam in the perspective of the police. So you see the teenager actually eating, and ask why. Why should I step out of the car?
But wait.
And he started firing.
That policeman knew there was a camera.
Well, so see, that's how you see. Like, he doesn't think at all, because there's a body cam. But then he didn't think, oh, I just want to shoot somebody. Not even thinking of.
And what happened after?
I think the police got fired. That's what
sued?
He should be not even sued, but how do you call that in English? Like being prosecuted for attempted murder.
Of course.
And the kid is in critical condition, and probably if he will be prosecuted, he will go to court and testify, and probably see the video of himself getting shot 11 times. So that is so bad.
Oh my
anyway,
God.
This is
and
so much.
So this is why he thinks I'm the policeman. I have all rights. This is what you mean by a job title. Do you believe he did this because he was wearing his uniform and he felt like I have so much power? Probably he has some issues in his personal life.
He has some
we don't know his background, but probably his background impacted his choice, what he did.
Or even mental issues, to be honest. Like, nobody in their right mind would just shoot an innocent teenager eating a burger at his own car.
Yeah.
Okay?
Because usually policemen are really nice, but it depends where. So I have never spoken to policemen in the US, so I cannot say there.
But this doesn't speak about all policemen in the US.
Definitely
Full
not.
disclaimer.
But again, and this is because I was speaking about that, and it's really interesting, I believe, because sometimes we have a cliche of a job title just because of a few minority people doing things, and so we think, oh, all of them of doing that job are like asshole, or Here I don't speak about any jobs in mind, but some jobs are obviously harsher. I mean, some jobs are not really the nicest job in the world. And so we think all of the people doing that job are like this or behave that way.
Or have a certain intellect just because they're doing this job.
Exactly. And so when we ask someone, what do you do in life? You directly change your perception of the person to the perception you have of the job.
That's right.
Of what you have seen even. And also some jobs are more like if you are a lady, a girl, and you are doing that job, it's okay. Like I'm a primary school teacher, it will be fine. But if the parents, like imagine some parents are meeting, they their son-in-law, for instance, and they will ask, "Oh, what are you doing in life?" And the son-in-law responds, "I'm a primary school teacher." Well, maybe they won't like it. And why? Why they will not like the person just because of what he's doing?
Yeah, it's nothing like, it's nothing about, not like it's illegal or something to be a primary school teacher
no.
that is a man. We even saw this movie about, the favorite movie at the moment of Mr. Pierre, Meet the Fockers. He likes it so much. He laughs so much, but
it's just to laugh. Disclaimer.
Disclaimer. But irregardless of what for shit and giggles.
Yeah.
But irregardless of what my co-host's opinion about the movie, there's a running joke in that movie where they make fun of the protagonist just because he's a male nurse. Anybody could be anybody at this point, to be honest. If you want to be a male nurse, yes, you can. If you want to be a male teacher, yes, you can. Just as long as you're doing the right thing,
Indeed.
And people would think that, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm a nurse, and you're a male, and they say, oh, he's probably gay. Why?
I know.
Why? I don't understand that.
Again, it's perceptions. It's the same if you are working as, it depends always, but if you are a hairdresser and you're a male, sometimes it does happen, of course, but it's not because you have met a few hairdressers who are gay that the one who say to you, "Oh, I'm a hairdresser," then directly, because from your past experience, you met some who were doing the job and had those kinds of opinions or interest, you will directly associate this to the new person you meet with the same job title. It's by nature, it's a human nature, actually. We do this automatically. Our brain associates what he knows already, what the brain knows already, to something new. It's something we do, like our subconscious is doing for us.
Yeah, but
we always have to be aware it might impact our judgment just because of this. So we should always be careful.
Yes. So we're basically not, in a sense, not giving a person a chance just because of that one question where the answer is, you didn't like the answer of the question, which is, in fact, that person is just telling the truth,
Exactly.
So
Oh, do you mean in the movie?
Oh, no, I meant in real life,
Oh, yes.
Okay, we're on a date. Oh, what do you do? I'm a stripper, And you would immediately think, oh my God, she's sleeping every day with different men,
Exactly. And
you don't
of
even
course
know what
it doesn't...
Yeah, some don't, actually. And if some do, probably it's
indeed.
consensual, okay? So, so we
But
shouldn't
it's
judge.
the perception of what we have because of the contents also we consumed, movies, videos, and so on, and education. And so directly, we then associate, this job title is like, probably that person is more like this or like that, and so on.
Yeah, and I think the worst part is some parents would actually, I'm not saying everybody, but some would actually say, if you don't go to school or you don't do well in school, you'll end up like him or her, like being a garbage collector or a cleaner. That is so bad.
Yeah, indeed. And sometimes your parents will take like the example of one of your schoolmates and they say, "Oh, look at that, look at him, look at her. They did that choice and look how they are now." Of course, they want, when they say this, they want to be nice to you, they want to help you, but it's definitely not the best way to help you. And especially if your parents didn't do that job, well, they're not the best at saying advice to you. But the ones who did those kinds of jobs are probably the best in the position to help you.
Yeah, and you know what's even worse than, taking people who do those jobs as a scare tactic to to their children is
like frightening
their children is basically if those people have some sort of like a boycott or don't show up in their jobs, I think the place would be like just into scrambles, like and let me just say that the garbage men here in Australia are really paid well, amazing people, like chef's kisses. But imagine if they have a rally, like they boycott their jobs, so nobody's keeping the environment clean and collecting all those rubbish that needs to be collected. The place would be the worst. And I think in UK, I think the garbage men they're on a strike. I think there's a point in UK this month or last month where they were on a strike and the place was just shit, and like they don't see the impact of these people and how they're doing the job that nobody else would, and they don't appreciate them, and probably they say some bad things about them, but they're getting paid really well. Let me just say that.
At least in Australia, because I know back home in my case, well, garbage collectors are definitely, they are seen as like the lowest of the job. People see them as this, and they don't have a lot of money, and the salary is really low, and they don't do their job very well because they are not very motivated because of the salary, but also they are not very motivated because of the perception they have from the society.
Yeah, but I think even Australian people are much more like, like they're much more
Yeah,
people,
definitely.
A lot of people live in not live, but work in constructions, and that pays a lot too.
A lot, and people like the people I have seen always here working in constructions. They are polite. They are like people like you and me, really, and they are they know their job. Like no one sees them as like the lowest of the society pyramid. I don't know how you would say that.
Like a ladder or something.
But in Europe, like in France, in Belgium, maybe in Switzerland, I'm not sure. In the UK, I have no idea. People see them as the lowest of the lowest. And maybe they behave also like this because the society treats them like that. So in the society, like if you are a builder or you are working in the construction, people will see you as like half nothing. And so they behave also like bad people, at least from what I have seen. Sometimes not at all, but sometimes they do. They don't really respect other people, maybe because the other people or the other kind of jobs, especially people working in offices, don't treat them well, and so they don't treat the others well either. So that's why we have bad perception of them, because they're not very polite. They don't treat well. Like if you are a girl working nearby a construction, they will whistle at you, and they will say kind of
catcalling.
Yeah, they won't speak to you well, like kind of like they will call you like
like catcalling, basically.
Yes.
Yeah,
and here, at least I'm a man, I know, but I think it doesn't happen because back home I have seen that so many times.
Really?
And probably indeed, I did. And that's why also the society don't see them well, but also probably they behave that way also because the society
doesn't value them.
Sees them as that. And the salary is really low as well. They don't earn a lot, and they're not really valuable because everything is already built in Europe. But in a country where so much has to be built and it's just a beginning, it's really like an amazing job. And so they see way more values in their job because, well, it's just a beginning. And in Europe, it's the opposite. So that's why the job is so different, completely different
Yeah, but this is what I like about
in different
Australia,
continents. Yeah.
to be honest, because I think here everybody is equal, you know? Like, okay, some earn more. That's, you know, that's guaranteed for sure, because, you know, they say they are much more niche is what I would say. But yeah, if you're like, I am a cleaner, and then I am also a childcare worker, but you know, in my salary I could actually survive and, you know, have savings and just be able to afford to live here, which is so nice, because probably in other countries
No,
it's
you
probably
wouldn't.
gonna be difficult.
Which is so sad, and it won't make your job. I mean, it won't be done at the same quality either, because if you feel like you are not respected, sometimes only by your salary, well, you will not do your job well. At least, you know, a lot of people wouldn't, because they say, wow, I'm like a slave. And then people won't respect you well because they see you don't do the job well. But what they don't know is that you don't have a decent salary.
Yeah.
However, if everybody is treated like what you said,
Like
kind
having
not
a
kind of
like
e-
like having like giving compensating you
yeah.
with a livable salary, you know, like you will survive and you
So
can
if
eat and
everybody
even
is
more.
treated well,
Yeah.
at least at some reasonable levels, and everybody should, because we are all the same at the end of the day. It's not because we do a different job or we studied something different. We are all, you know, humans, and we are all like you and me are like the same. Like, it's so awful how people can treat someone else so badly just because of a job title or just because of the other person. They didn't have the opportunity to have the same career or the same university. It's not their fault, and it's not a reason to treat them differently.
Yeah, well, that, you know, that doesn't we're not saying that, you know, neurosurgeons
Oh yeah,
shouldn't be proud about what they do,
amazing.
because they should, you know.
They
That's
should.
a really hard job.
Oh,
But you
of
know,
course.
well, but you know,
I
basing
I speak about being nice or have a decent salary.
yes, but we should just not treat each other with prejudice just because of what we
Never.
do. You
Exactly.
know, and you know, I'm not speaking about all neurosurgeons here, but you could be a neurosurgeon, but you're an asshole. You know.
Oh yes.
Like, oh yeah, you're smart, but you're an ass. Okay.
I have met some actually. Yes.
Some neurosurgeons that are assholes.
At least doctors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But specialized doctors.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are like late. They make you waiting just because they arrived at the hospital late, and they see, like, you have to pay obviously the full price, expensive price, and you just stay there for like 10 minutes. They do not well their job. They are not nice with you. They don't even, you can just ask 1 or 2 questions maximum, and then they say, yeah, no, this is the price, goodbye. And really, like, you feel, oh, wow.
Really? Like, for sure that's a European thing, no?
Yeah, it is. It did happen back home for me.
Yeah. But my experience here is yeah, it's so far so good. Yeah. So, so that's actually one of the things that I think about when meeting new people here. So, what would I say? Especially when I wasn't working with my second job in childcare. So I was thinking about, okay, probably they would ask me what I do here in Australia. For sure, I would answer, oh yeah, I'm studying. Because even for me, that I don't really, I don't judge others, but for myself, I judge myself for saying, oh yeah, I work as a cleaner here, and that's how innate this character is to society, because even I, who's making a podcast about it, is also, in fact, shy in saying my job,
It's sad because it's an amazing job. Like, everybody
It's an amazing
needs
job.
to be in a clean environment. and it helps for productivity, it helps for happiness. It's an amazing job, and I know, Elle, how much you work hard, and you are a hard worker, and you do very well your job. And I know it's sad, the perception people can have, especially if they don't know, like for you, it's like a new life here. You have a different background back home.
Oh, yeah.
And indeed, me too. I'm like, now I might, I don't know, move abroad to a different country where I wouldn't be able to have the same job as I have here. Well, maybe I will be a barista, or maybe I will be working in a restaurant, and there's nothing bad with that.
Yeah.
Cleaning, I know I'm so bad at cleaning, so I wouldn't do this because I would be terrible.
He would be having a Cinderella moment on the floor, like full on all fours, just brushing the floor, and probably it will take him 8 hours just to clean a small office.
Yes.
So yeah, he's not good at it.
No.
Yeah.
And people will judge me by what they see, but they don't know what's my background. They don't know what I have done, like for the last 10 years before. They have no idea. So they judge without context. And that's so wrong. And the same for you. Like, if someone would judge you, they don't know what you did back home. And even if it's your choice, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And this is not, it's not because you do a job they think is not made for them. That's not a reason they should not treat you as good as their colleague or someone else. Everybody should be treated very, very well, because, we live in the planet Earth is like we are living in society. By definition, we are not in our cave alone, seeing no one. And so it's really important to respect everybody. No matter, you don't know them or you know them. Well, if you don't know what they did before, you cannot judge already. Maybe that person is a bad person, but first you don't know. And maybe you think that person is bad, but maybe you have no idea, or maybe that person is a little bit rude because that person is having a bad day. Okay, that person shouldn't be rude, but some people have, what's the name? They temper. Some people have less temper than others. And it's something you build over time. But, it's, if you answer, like, if you are directly arrogant to someone, don't expect the other person to be really nice in return. Although, it's important to first treat themselves. I mean, everybody well. Here we speak about jobs, so that's why I'm saying this. Is because it's not because you see someone. I don't know. I have some colleagues. So in my case, I'm working in a software company. I'm a software engineer, but I have some colleagues. They moved in Australia, and so they were software engineer back home. So in my case, I have one colleague in mind. He's from India, and he moved here. And first, he had to take the first job he could. So he worked in a meat factory. And actually, he doesn't eat meat because from where he's from in India, they don't eat meat at all. But he had to take the first job, so he took a meat factory job. And apparently, the people there were not the nicest. From what he said, but when people ask him what was your first job in Australia, he said meat factory, and everybody think, oh, that's weird. Why are you working here? It's because he used to be a software engineer back home, but he had to. When he came here, he didn't have much savings apparently, so he had to take a job. And his English was not really good, and so he thought meat factory and don't have to speak a lot. So yes, why not?
Yeah. Why not?
And then he got finally the job he wanted. And now he's in that company, in the same company as me for like over 2 years.
Yeah, I like what you said, when the job that you wanted. I think, if you really want a job, irregardless of what it is, and if it makes you proud, whatever society thinks, 100%. If somebody asks you, what do you do? Oh, yes, I'm a stripper, If you're proud, you're happy with what you do, and you see yourself doing it for for quite some time, maybe for 5 years, 3 years, 2, 1, and if you're really proud, then say it, and if you're, of course, that will spark a lot of questions, like, like, oh, so is it easy or stuff like that, or do you have to learn some special skills to be working in that field? Then you should be prepared to answer as well, because by nature we're all curious, hopefully, because if you're just not curious and not ask questions after the answer, it's like, I don't care, because I don't mix well with people like you, which is so bad. That's not.
How do you know that already? Just because of the job? Yeah. No. So, some would just, leave. I mean, stop the conversation with you. Yes. Yeah.
So curiosity is of course still a human thing. So you should be prepared to answer a few questions. Yeah.
Now, some people here, I mean, I know some back home as well, they just take a job because it's the highest paid job. So they have to do studies, they have to go to university, but they don't like it, or it's not a really good job, or it's a little bit not the best, but they do it just because they know they will get so much money from it. Even if they believe it's maybe not that ethic, I don't know. But you have, I don't know in English actually, but you have that kind of job. You have to study law, and it's a job after a specialization where you have people, they don't have any money, and so you have people taking your furnitures from your home and your house and your car. It's a really awful job to do because it's a terrible job. Like, no one wants to take furnitures because they don't have money to pay the bills, and so the justice has to come over and to take those
your possessions.
And it's a well paid job, but it's not, you're not proud of it, I would say. So you have a house, but you cannot pay the bills and so on. You cannot pay your mortgage anymore, and so the bank will call the justice, or I don't know, a lawyer, don't know who, and they will come to your house, and they will just take things like your belongings to pay off the
mortgage
debt. And some just don't care about the value of the job, just about the money. In my case, I know that's so important because we are speaking here about how you see and how people see you in your job title. For me, the company also and what I'm doing is like so important. I would never be able to work in a company, even if it's a job I have to take ASAP. There's always another job you can take, but I will never work in a job where it's not it's not part of my values. For instance, there's like even meat factory. I'm not sure I would, but there's even much worse than that. And also working for a petrol company. I'm not into, for me, the planet is so important, environment is so important. And I know everybody needs petrol at the moment, but for me, I don't want to be part of that company because I know where I prefer to be, and I prefer to be in the companies that help the environment and everybody on planet Earth to live in a less polluted environment. So I won't be part of the other side, because then it's like I betray my values.
Yeah, I understand that.
And that's, I believe, also important, much more important than what people see you with a job title. It's much more important to know yourself and to say, okay, does it meet my values or not? It's so important as a mission of the company. It's really important for me too, not only my job title. And I believe that's also important. And sometimes you choose a job just because you know your family or the people around you will like it, but it's not a job made for you. But you just do it, you will be a judge. Just because your dad used to be one, and he wants you to become also a lawyer, a judge, a solicitor, and so on. And no, you should know what you really want deeply in you. Of course, we are also speaking about emergency jobs where you just arrive somewhere and you just have to, take whatever you find. But you have also after in the long term to see what makes me happy. And if you know that this is not aligned with your values, well, you feel it at some point, I believe.
Yeah, usually the things that your family want you to be is something that you could, let's say, quote unquote, be proud to say when a question is asked, such as what we have said before, like, well, what do you do for a living? Like, usually those jobs are like top tier, quote unquote, like something that makes you quote unquote proud. Wow, I really have to say a lot of quote unquote here, but yeah. Just do you, in the end of the day, make yourself happy and not others, and
That's
I know
so important.
It's easy to say that just forget about what society would think, because yeah, it's just easy to say, it just comes out of your mouth, but doing it is really hard. And yeah, but now I've been really good at just, especially when people ask me, like, yeah, what is your other job in the childcare that I'm working at? I said, yeah, I'm a cleaner, and yeah, but usually it's easier for our colleagues, but to family members it's harder.
It can be harder.
And friends that are really close, it's harder, especially when they see you as somebody before. It's like, oh wow, you used to be this and now you're working in that, which is
so
bad.
For them it's a downgrade.
Yeah.
Although obviously here you make more money than back
I
home
do.
as a pharmacist, but for them they say, oh,
it's
no,
a
you are
downgrade
this.
for
I
them.
know it's.
But then who
it's really
cares?
sad.
But then
But
here,
again, after it will impact sometimes you.
yeah,
Because
it does.
sometimes it's really good friends and you don't want to disappoint them.
Not more like disappoint, more like your pride of yourself, probably. And I am guilty of that, I say who cares now, but when asked, I'll probably just be vague about what I'm doing, which is bad because
I know.
I should stop, to be honest.
But at least now you mentioned you have another job, childcare. So both of them you are working part-time, so they are like equals. And you can, if you prefer, you can say, I'm working at a childcare. This is
Or should I just say...
but I know you shouldn't be... I know you should be able to say exactly what you do.
Yeah.
I'm working at a childcare and I'm a cleaner. However, indeed, people will, especially if they don't know you, they will have an idea of you which is not you.
That's right. I should say I'm an educator by day and a cleaner by night. How about
Yeah,
that?
that
sounds cool, no?
Yeah. Busy lady.
Yes, I'm busy.
Working.
So even me speaking to you is a bit of a waste of time. Just kidding. Not now. I meant about you, like the situation when people ask you, like, what do you do? I'm a busy woman, okay? Anyway, do you have any last words, sir?
Well, I completely agree with everything you said about how jobs, even sometimes, you are like a pilot or you are a steward or you are working, especially the uniform jobs, you are a fireman, and you would behave differently just because of your uniform. So you would not be the same just because of your job title. And I believe if I were a policeman, I would behave differently too. I would speak probably differently. I would not. I will take maybe a different voice. My posture will be a little bit different as well, because of my job title. and I will look at myself and I will say, yes, I am this, I do this job. So I see myself, even to my subconscious, I will say to my subconscious, I am now this. And sometimes you would speak to yourself, now I'm a doctor, I'm a policeman, I'm a fireman, I'm a nurse, I'm a cleaner, and so on. And you would see, this is me. And I believe no, especially nowadays, before maybe it used to be more the case, because before you would just have one kind of job for your whole life. And I believe this is also from where comes from the perception of seeing you as what you do. Maybe that question will die over the next 20 years, directly asking you what you do. Probably less and less people will ask you this, because nowadays people do so many different jobs, and so many new jobs have been created. Like I'm a coach, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a influencer. Those jobs didn't exist before. And imagine 30 years ago, if I would tell you I'm an influencer, you'd say, oh wow, what do you influence?
Oh wow, do you work in a church?
Yes. And now it's so, people say, wow, an influencer, that sounds so cool. And it's really different. And nowadays, you change your job to a different job like 10 times in your life, even way more. In my case, I did already hospitality, I did a lot of different jobs. I used to be a barista at some point, and I really loved it. It was amazing. And I like to learn new skills, and I believe making coffee is an amazing job, especially if you like coffee. And the same what I do now is my passion. And if you're really passionate in your job, you will like it so much, you will be so happy, you will do it very well because you like it. And no matter what people think about it, you like it. Sometimes it's just about staying in your comfort zone. But that's fine too. If you think it's pleasant. Sometimes people take a night shift, night shift, secretary, or working at a hotel, as a secretary of the hotel, a receptionist, during the night. It's really quiet. You have also to do other things, the morning shift don't do, because you don't have a lot of customers, during the night. You don't have to deal with check-in and check-out usually. And so some people just take that job because, they can also look at some videos on their computer if they can, depends on the company, but some hotels allow the staff to do this if there is no one, or with their phone sometimes they do it, and they don't have much thing. Like in my case, if I was a student, I would like to have a night shift job. There are not a lot of things going around. I can just study for my degree. And I would just study quickly a little bit during my night shift, and at the same time I would earn a lot of money because it's a night shift job, so I will have more money as well, and it's nice. And at the same time, it's also something I can add on my CV. But obviously, this is like just the journey of where I want to be. A job is not like the end of your career. Sometimes it's just a journey, and it's not because now you do A or B that you will be A or B for your life. And your job is not you, it's not your personality, it's not part of yourself.
Yeah, I completely agree with everything that you just said. Like, yeah, everything is a process in itself, and what you have as a goal in mind now might change tomorrow, next year, you never know. So,
Life is short, and you should explore a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And everywhere is different. And what is amazing also, the same job title has a really different perception in different continents.
That's
even
right.
different countries.
Yeah, I think everybody except actors and actresses and business owners are the only ones who are like rich, because even though you are working as, let's just say, an engineer or a teacher or a nurse, like the worst, the nurse. And pharmacists, it's like, you can't really buy I mean, yeah, you can buy a house, but then that's probably going to be a lot of loans, and probably it's going to be with another person, such as a husband or maybe a sister, But yeah, bottom line is, if you're not a business owner or somebody who works in the TV or movie industry, you're just normal. And people don't, people even name you other things, such as if you're a pharmacist, you're just tendera is what they call it there.
Pendera?
Tendera?
Tendera?
It's like a salesperson.
Oh, yes.
And for
selling drugs.
Yes, and for physical therapist, they're called as somebody who massages people. It's like they get like professionals in our country.
Touching people.
Yeah, like professionals in our country are sometimes not respected in what they do, and are, to be honest, paid low. So, it actually really does depend.
And maybe it's paid low because of the perception. Sometimes the salary, it's because of what the society sees.
How the culture sees it.
That specific country.
Yes. Because, it's like here in Australia, it's like they value those. They value everybody, to be honest. And, back in my country, I couldn't say the same.
Yeah, and sometimes sometimes you love that job, but in your home country or in the country you are in at the moment, the perception is so bad of the job you do, and so the salary usually is also not the best. And if you have the opportunity, just move to the country where the same job is valued really well. Sometimes, you don't have to change it and to be unhappy, because if you do a job you love but people don't respect you and people don't see you well because of that job, you will be a bit unhappy. You won't be fulfilled in your job, or you will be a bit like shy of saying what you do. You will feel a bit like, I'm not proud of what I do because I know what people will say to my job. I mean, we say what they think about what I do. So sometimes if it's possible for you, just Google where your job might be really well valued, or watch some documentaries about your job title but overseas in different countries, and then move there. If that's an option, a valid option, and possible. I mean, everything is possible, but sometimes it depends how old you are, depends where you are, from where you are from, if, it's possible to migrate easily, if you have family or not, but at the end of the day, it's always possible. Happiness, and if the job, you like it, that's good. And the last thing I would like to add, which I actually forgot now, it's a job actually is just a job, but you should be really happy by what you do. And I believe it's really important, because usually you would work 40 hours a week. And if you think it's only for the money and that's it, but you hate it, but you say it pays the bills, that's it. No, it's not good enough. You should do something you like, because the majority, like the 65-70% of your life will be in that job. Otherwise, just change. It's important you like it. And there's always, if you believe, oh no, it's impossible that I would like my job. Nowadays, anyone can create their own job. And Elle, you also mentioning about actors. It's funny because actors, they can actually pretend, they have the chance to act being in any kind of jobs. Like, they can be a doctor in one movie, they can be a solicitor in another movie, they can be a homeless person in another movie. It's an amazing, because they can just be in the skin, in the body of another kind of job title. I think it's just amazing. Of course, you are limited of what you say in the movie, and it's different, but I think it's still amazing. And finally, if you are a business owner, you can always open a different business in different kind of areas of a different shop. Like, it's not because now you have a business selling pasta, Italian shop, tomorrow you can be in opening a hotel, and then another day you can just 10 years later you can probably be in the tech industry, having a SaaS software selling pasta or something else. Is probably not the best example, but sometimes when you quit your job, you can be in a lot of different fields, and you don't have just one job. You can be in a lot of different categories of industries.
So let me just end by saying that your job doesn't define you. That's it.
Yeah.